Here we are.
Yes.
Boom.
Back
Episode
to Kush and
3.
Cal's Corner.
Kush and Cal's Corner.
Episode 3.
That's it.
That's right.
That's it.
Here with Josh Cannon from Cannon's Conversations.
Man, yep.
So first guest we've had.
Yeah.
Which
Sweet.
is pretty cool. So
That's it.
it's a pleasure to have you. It's a pleasure.
Class.
Yeah.
Buzzing, boys. I told you I'm buzzing for this. I'm glad to be on the other side. So yeah.
And that's, oh, yeah, you were saying as well, that's like one of the first times. The first
This
time
is the first time, yeah. It's been in my head to obviously just kind of start to do for a little while, and then obviously did the last two with you guys. So yeah, I'm cool. Just I don't know. I'll probably talk a lot of shit, but yeah.
That's exactly what I want. Because like, you're a podcaster as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think because we're now technically all podcasters, we can podcast and
Hey,
talk
there we
shit.
go.
Like, nobody knows how the pyramids were built. Why is the sky blue?
I'm down for that. Should have smoked the joint. Should have smoked the joint before or something.
yeah.
Oh god, but yeah, so that's us. Let's get into it. So yeah, that's what we thought. We thought we'd start this to get people we've worked with on and can I get their story? How did they get into the situation they're doing it? Like, you know what I mean? Maybe there's people watching that want to start podcasts. How did they get into it? How did you like even start with that? Like a bit about yourself and how you started getting into podcasting and your first one,
Yeah, sure. How far do you guys want me to go back?
Oh, go on, go all the way. Go on.
I remember you said something about being in America. So why don't you start with how that came about? You left this wonderful country of ours.
I know,
And
no problem. Yeah, that's probably a good place to start. Again, just stop me because I can talk a lot. So long story short, I was born in the States. Don't know if I said that to you guys, but so I was born in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. My dad's from Chicago. Mum grew up just in Scotland and Gullen, where they still stay. And then I moved over to Scotland when I was about 5. So did school and everything here. So I'd consider myself Scottish more than American.
But
I do have
accent for it.
I've got both the passports.
Very good.
So and then obviously went to school and stuff, grew up here, all my pals and that from here, and then throughout school just didn't want to go to uni and stuff like that, wasn't interested in it at all, and I had a cousin that was out in the States doing football coaching, and I've been into football my whole life, but I knew at 16, well, I knew before that really, but 14, 15, 16, I was like, I'm not going to do anything here. Like, I was just playing for my local team, like with my pals, and I liked it, and I never had... I really probably never had any ambition to really be a football player. Like, that was like a kid dream, you know what I mean? 5 to 10, 11, 12 dream. So just decided, obviously, wanted to stay in it though. Like, I really wanted to be involved in football in some way, shape or form. So I was like, well, I watched a lot of the game. I talk a lot about it. Maybe I could coach. So I just volunteered and stuff like that. And anyway, that led to me eventually going out to the States when I was 19.
Nice.
So I went when I was 19. So I finished school, worked for a year, did greenkeeping, hated it. And then went to the States, and I just went out, lived with my cousin, and it was just like a 3-month period, September to Christmas, just to see if I liked it. I just shadowed him and stuff like that. And then, the club that he was working for that I helped out with when I was leaving to come back for Christmas were just like, would you want to come back and have your own teams?
I do.
So obviously I was like, well, yeah.
So good opportunity.
Yeah, move there.
Were you paid like a job paid for it?
So it was a paid job. It was. So it started off with just like shadowing, and but then like anything I did for the club, they would pay me for. And then like when I first got there, parents just kind of paid you cash in hand. So it was like $80 a month for your kid to be on the team, for example. And it was just cash in hand, and you kind of just had to like chase folk up for it. So that was a bit interesting. 19, like asking adults for like and just learning to keep track of that stuff. And then as it progressed, the club got a bit bigger and it got more professional, and then it was like a monthly pay, still self-employed. But they paid the club, and then the club paid you per teams and all that stuff. So
you chasing the money as well.
Exactly. Which
nightmare.
Which was good. It became more professional. And then man, I was out. So it was California. I went to San Jose, so just outside of San Francisco. It was really nice.
The weather's amazing and all.
Weather was unreal, mate. I mean, the first 2 years there, it barely rained. They had a really bad droughts, and that happened again kind of towards the end time there. Like, it doesn't rain.
You'd be like, oh, amazin', no rain. But then you think of the other side of it going, oh, that's a whole other problem in itself, isn't it? Wow.
I missed the rain. Funny enough, I really did. Weather's not a big thing for me. Like, I realized that when I was over there. I'm like, it is nice when you get days like today here, right? But it's not. Weather's not a.
You almost feel that much more special when you get.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like a big thing. You're like, what? Take a day off work. What we did?
So beautiful place. I was there for just shy of 8 years.
Wow, that's a long stretch there.
So it's a long time.
That's
so
good.
About six to 6.5, just doing the club coaching stuff, like coaching kids anywhere from honestly 4 or 5 all the way through to eventually like kind of pros. So I kind of touched every age and stuff like that. So it was really good. I loved it. The last 18 months, I joined my cousin. He started up like his own business. So we did like a one-on-one, coaching private stuff and camps. And he was very early on that. Before that's now like a thing, especially over here now. Yeah. But he was early on that. Oh, nice, so he kind of got ahead on that. Got a partnership with like Nike. Like we'd got to like San Francisco and do meetings with them about the summer camps, and they really liked us. Again, Scottish and loving the accents and all that stuff. Head start on and then that, and just kind of, you guys can come back to and ask me as many questions as you want on the California stuff, but just to move it on to the podcast stuff. So, like, what I started to find was I wasn't enjoying the coaching piece, and I was really enjoying the business stuff, doing the meetings all day with my brother and my cousin, and how do we grow the social media page? How does that then give us kids that come and make money and all that type of stuff? So I really got a buzz for that, and we actually started. We kind of had an idea to maybe like also have a podcast as part of it and get coaches on, and it just kind of never really materialized. We were just so busy with other stuff, but that was where at first. Doing a podcast and I got really excited about like, I'd love to do that. Right. And that's where the idea started, to be honest. That's pretty cool. And then ended up moving home in COVID and I was bored. Is
that why you had? Is that the main reason you came? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I decided I wanted to come home in the October when the COVID hit 2020. Yeah, 2020. Yeah, because I came home 2020. Yeah. So October 2019 was really funny. My brother was staying with me too, and he was like in my room. I was fortunate. I had like the master bedroom in the flat because when we moved into that flat, it was me, my brother, my cousin, and one of our friends. So they were like, well, you and your brother share the master bedroom because it's a big room, split the rent and all that, right? Yeah. So anyway, he ended up having to move back in with me, and he just said to me one day, I think I'm going to move home. And I'm like, well, funny because I've been thinking about it too. I just started thinking ahead. I think I said this to you guys, but like I had all my friends were starting to get engaged. Some were having kids and like close friends, and I was getting invited to that stuff, and I'm like, I can't afford to do all this stuff. And then I started to look ahead and be like,
especially flying over every time. And,
exactly. And I just started to look ahead and be like, do I want that part of my life? Because I was approaching 28, 29. Do I want that part of my life, that part to be in America? Yeah. And the answer was just no. Like I didn't.
That's good that you knew that.
I mean, fortunately, like the decision to go there, I just knew I had to go there.
And then as well in that situation.
What's that?
In that situation, if you had an in to get there with a passport.
Exactly.
Somewhere from America. I've never been, but I would love to go, and I'd imagine it's fantastic opportunity and stuff. So.
Yeah, you guys should, like I said, check out like any part of New York, and the East Coast would be good, but Cali, West Coast streetwear clothing and all that's really big. So yeah, that was it, and then COVID hit. It just moved it up a few months. It wasn't like that's why. We were supposed to do the whole summer camps. And then fly back. We were supposed to be on the East Coast, and we would just fly back to Scotland, but COVID hit, that got cancelled, so we just came home early, and then that was really it. I came home, I was bored, I didn't have anything to do, nothing was going on, I couldn't get work because everything was closed.
That's kind of a bad situation to be in.
And just started on Zoom. Just did it with my brother and my mate Greg and my mate Scott and my brother.
Started podcasting on Zoom or just
you nice broadcasting from.
Yes, like I was. So I was back in Scotland when I started it. So I was just in my room. My brother was in his room. Greg was. We all lived right next to each other in Galway. Did. Greg was just who I live with. He was just in his house, and then my mate Scott as well. And they just kind of did it to help me, and I'm really thankful to them because. And my brother and Greg still do it. Scott kind of does golf. He's like trying to be a pro golfer and do all that stuff. So he's busy, so he comes on when he can. But they still do it with me.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah. So like still going.
Just guests, and then or did they start off as hosts or something? Or
no, just
guesting.
Yeah, just boys. Do you want to? I seen there was a guy.
Conversation and record it with me.
Yeah, there was a guy that did it. So. I mean, I don't know what you guys do want to talk about or not want to talk about on this podcast, but like I don't know if there's any rules or anything, like I've said this to you guys too, not to advocate this, but in COVID before we moved back, we weren't working obviously, and we were just kind of taking time down to move home. And my brother was like, "Do you want to do some mushrooms?" And I was like, "I've never done them, but I had a weird inkling to to do them, anyway. And I was like, yeah, sure. So we did them, and I just had a really weird. I got a lot of stuff from it, to be honest. But
fun.
I had a weird thing because we'd been talking about the podcast thing, like I said, with my cousin's company. And I had this weird message of like, you should do that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you should do that.
Push to kind of.
I don't know how else to explain it other than just like, you should do that. And there was a guy on YouTube at the time from Newcastle called True Geordie, and he still has a show called The Kickoff, and that he blew up big time with that. And they would sit, it was like, if you guys seen like Joe Rogan does the MMA shows with his pals where they sit and watch the UFC. So True Geordie basically did that with football. So he had him and 3-4 other guys of different teams, and there'd be a game on. You can't see the game obviously because he can't do that, but they're just talking as the game goes on.
It sounds like, what was it, like Match of the Day and stuff like that, but like somehow podcasts have taken over everything and it just sounds better. I wonder if you think that's because like you're free to talk a bit more. Like nobody's telling a story about mushrooms on the TV.
I suppose,
I wonder if that's why everyone likes it, because it's more real. Like we're just having a conversation about how we got here in life.
Get to know people better and like actually see.
But like that's obviously what people wanted for a long time. If this guy's blown up doing that. So,
I agree with you. I think that like obviously you've got all the money that's involved in the sponsors that want, and like those big types of shows. So then, you know, if you start something up like this, it's on you what you want to do and how you want your brand to be, right? And then you know, if people that are like, we want you, you know, if folk came to you and said, we love this, but we don't want you to talk about taking mushrooms anymore, or whatever it is, right? For example, but like if you guys didn't want to do that, then you don't have to do that, right?
It doesn't feel right telling, like, imagine somebody was saying you can't do this on this episode or something. I don't know.
I know, that's it. You talk about whatever, we're quite open with. Good.
So, one of the questions I was going to ask you was obviously the most basic question of what was your inspiration, but it sounds like that is pretty much the inspiration story right there. You were just at a point in life where you thought, maybe I'll start a podcast up with the boys here, we're a bit busy, and then push came to shove. You still had it in your mind when you were back here looking for something. And getting beautiful messages from the unknown realms telling you it should go as well. So that seems to be the inspiration for it, which is cool. Basically, man, I would absolutely say that 100%. I started. I would say like my mindset. Like I had. Again, I don't want to I don't know. I don't like to talk about myself. I guess there's an opportunity, right? So as well too. Just on that, just to kind of like give the full context, because I think it's good for people sometimes to get that. But so I like to have a drink. I like to go out, and especially in your 20s and stuff, you do, right? So, but like America don't do measurements. Pours, you know, so if you want to get a vodka, it could be strong as fuck, or it could be weak, right? It depends, but there's no limit. They could literally pour you a full pint of vodka and splash it with Coke. Like it's not well, California anyway. Sorry, I'm sure there's probably different rules in different states. So anyway, so doing all that stuff and just probably doing that a little too much, but as you do in your 20s, right? And then and I just had an incident where I just got too pissed, and if I look back, it was probably happening quite frequently. But I fell and I actually hit my head on a concrete wall, that's not good.
and I cracked it open, and I don't remember like any of it.
So dangerous.
So I remember waking up in like the hospital, and I had you know they put like shit on you, right? But my first thought was, I'm in America, health insurance, money. Like it's not NHS. So I was trying to like rip stuff off. My brother was there. He wasn't out with me, but someone must have called him and was like, you know, come, you need to come see your brother. And anyway, so that happened, and that was just like a bit of a wake up call in terms of like, I need to like sort myself out a little bit. And that was probably the moment of just like changing a lot, because just my mindset wasn't very good, like quite negative. I'd stopped playing football. I was playing football once a week, but like I'd stopped exercising. I'd put a lot of weight on. I didn't like myself, to be honest. I'd really like lost myself, which I think a lot of people do in their 20s.
You notice it as well, you know what I mean? And then you take action and you can, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, you know, you need unfortunately sometimes you need something to happen to you, and touch wood. That's the way it is, isn't it? Touch wood, it wasn't bad, then I'm all right.
It sounds pretty bad. But so to the point of cracking your head.
So I got like staples in, and then I didn't I didn't want to go back to the hospital to get the staples out because it was going to cost me so much money. So my friend was dating a nurse at the time. And I was like, could you do it? And she's like, yeah. She's like, but like, I don't have anything to give you. It's going to fucking hurt taking them out. So I went round to the flat and she took them out and I was fucking sore like. But so anyway, I say that to say that I just started to wake up a little bit and be like, what am I wanting to do and like where I'm at. I was a bit lost. So I started exercising. I got into yoga.
Nice.
Which really helped. I still do yoga to this day. Like
I've never
That's
tried.
cool, yeah.
You guys, you should. I mean,
I know.
I think everybody's different. Like I also do the gym. I did the gym today, and it does give me a different benefit. But like, there's something about the yoga for me that really does calm me down a lot.
Yeah.
My head anyway. More so than anything, I'm quite like an overthinker. And I just do notice that if anything, if I really take more than a couple of days off, I notice myself. So I got into yoga. And also at the time, so I'd basically, after I'd done that, I was like, right, I'm not drinking. So I stopped drinking. I just need a break, right? I'd never taken a break from the age of probably 16 when you start drinking to then. If you think about it, that's fucking crazy. But that's how it is in this country, right? I hadn't stopped. So I took a break. So I got about, and my friend was dating a girl at the time, and weed had become marijuana. Weed had become legal. I know. I was like, marijuana, fucking hell. Weed had become legal in Cali at the time, so it was obviously medical legal, but then it became like legal. You could go buy it in the shops. And she, my friend was dating a girl, and she came around with a weed vape pen. Like the first weekend, I wasn't going out, and I'd smoked weed before, but I'd never really done it. You know what I mean? It wasn't in my thing. And she was like, "Oh, you should have some of this," and I did it, and it was a good time that night. And I thought that was cool, and I thought, well, maybe I could do that. To replace the drinking at the weekend, right? So I started smoking weed, and that really, as cliche as it sounds, like that really opened my mind up to a lot of stuff, and I started to realize I was a lot more open-minded because I was quite close-minded as a person, I would say.
Did you think before you'd smoked it you were against it, or was it not like that? Or
no, not against it at all, because I'm so into hip hop music and rap and that like lifestyle that it's weird that I didn't do it before. To be honest, if I look at it, I think alcohol was just like the choice, and I was so used to alcohol that
being like in sports and a football coach and all that.
Exactly,
just sort of stay away from that. Naturally,
because alcohol just weirdly seems to be deemed as like okay.
It's crazy,
crazy.
So that really opened my mind up, and then that led into the yoga. I would get high into yoga, which was class, and then that eventually kind of, as I say, got more open minded. That led to probably doing some mushrooms, being more confident to do them, and then that took me back to Scotland and starting the pod.
This one, cool.
That's just cool. And before you started, did you have like any like the podcast you listen to? For example, you mentioned Joe Rogan. I think everyone listens to Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
sure.
Is that one of the reasons? Because he's obviously the Godfather.
Yes.
But so I guess my question is like, what other sort of podcasts you listen to?
So that was definitely the big one. Again, not to sound too cliche, but I just liked, again, the timing of things, smoking and watching that probably goes quite well together. So that was the big thing. I said the True Geordie, the kickoff one, which was the football one. And then what started to happen as well along that time was fan football podcasts started to become a thing. Fans were doing a thing, and they were starting to make that. They had podcasts and they would do shows after every game. And I support Liverpool, so I found this one called the Anfield Rap, who are like really big now and they're well known. They get put on Sky Sports, and they're quite well known in the podcast football game, the guys that do it, and they go on, and that all just started to pop up, and so I'm trying to think if there was any other specifically. Like Joe Rogan started a company called On It with a guy called Aubrey Marcus, similar type of vibe. He's a little more like, he's a lot more into like, how would I put it? Like DMT, psychedelic stuff. He quite deep on that. Maybe a little too deep for me. In terms of
that Joe Rogan started a company up with. What was his name?
Aubrey Marcus, and the company's called On It. It's like they do weights and supplements and stuff like that.
Makes sense for a Joe Rogan.
So him and Aubrey Marcus started that. So his podcast, which was quite cool, he had, at the time he was in a relationship. I remember actually taking an edible and going down to the pool and listening to this. He was in a relationship, an open relationship with his girlfriend. And they did a podcast on what it's like to be in an open relationship. And it was quite interesting. Just again, something different. I would never do that personally. But it was just, I was like, in California, right? Like people that think a bit differently out there. That's what the West Coast is known for out there in that area. So another one, I'm trying to think if there's any other ones. The football fan ones. I don't think I've missed anyone. No.
So it sounds like those were the sort of ones that you want to follow, because I can't remember if we said it or before we came in and recorded, but you were saying that you sort of started off as a football one, and then you heard bands, you heard everything, and just wanted to like branch out.
Because the football, because I've done it my whole life and I've been involved in it, and I saw guys doing that, and I thought I could do that. And I started to. My love for football, I lost a bit of love for it doing the coaching because it became a job, and I didn't really want to watch the gate. Like, it was weird, and I'd never felt like that before.
You had to be there more than
exactly. So the football, and I was just like, and then I started to. I was like, right, my real passion for it really is watching it and talking about it with my friends, and breaking games down, and obviously doing the coaching for 10 years. I got a little bit of an insight onto how the game's played a lot more, and the changes. So. Like, for the football one, it was like, I just feel like I could do that and bring some form of value. I'm still trying to, like, I haven't really, like, this is the first season where it will be, like, a consistent thing. You know, I'm trying to do it every kind of, like, I don't want to do it every week. Maybe it will grow to that point, but I'm just not interested in that because I feel like there's so much. And there's only, unless it's like a fan chat about your team, so specifically, like the Liverpool ones are good because I can listen to an hour on Liverpool. And I've watched the game and I like listening to it and stuff like that. But I want to talk about the game as a whole. And I feel like if you let 4 or 5 games go by, you've got a bit more of a chunk to talk about. Do you know what I mean?
So I wonder how, because I know nothing about football. I don't know if you know.
I'm not big football either.
If there was, like, say, in a season, how many games are there? Is that even a question?
38.
38, so that's 38.
Plus cup games, but league games.
And then how much space of time is that? Because imagine you were trying to cover 38 episodes in what, 2 months?
Well, it's even more than that because you've got cup games, you've got Champions League games, which are on tonight. I'm missing Liverpool for you guys, so that shows you're important. Kicking off 8 o'clock, first Champions League game.
Well,
AC Milan away. So there's 38 game weeks, but then you sometimes have double game weeks as well. So you know the Christmas period is very tightly packed. So I mean you're looking at one a week. There was just a 2-week international break for the international games, and then that'll come back around again in a couple of weeks. But then after the next international break in October, that's really it. Like pretty much a game a week.
So you wouldn't even cover like each game. You'd probably just do
chunk of it.
You say, a chunk of it.
Because I'm just trying to come at it from like the coach, not maybe this was the coaching, but like the game, like the game as a whole. So, and for me as a coach, I know it takes time to implement ideas and stuff like that. I can't even imagine what it's like at that level. I did it with kids, but I know for myself it takes time, and I like watching and you know, for example, not to bore you, but like Liverpool lost at the weekend at home to Nottingham Forest, who haven't beat Liverpool at Liverpool since 1969.
There you go. So
that's a big loss. So everyone I was like, oh my God, you know, and Liverpool have a new manager. So after a legend just left. So they're like, oh my God, what's going on? Football's very reaction. It's very, very reactory. Whereas, so I'm trying to come at it from let's see how he adapts to the loss, right? At a big club now that he's there. So, without trying to bore you on the football stuff.
If you were him, he would be hating his life. Like,
you've got to block that out, right?
You've
got to block that out.
Otherwise he's going to get swallowed alive.
So
football fans are quite, they say their mind.
Yeah, they do.
Die hard kind of
a lot of the time, honestly, a lot of the time it's a load of shite. It's a load of shite a lot of the time. There's folk that, again, me, myself, as I said, I haven't played at high level at all, but it's a lot of people that you look and you're like, you never kicked the ball. And that's not to say that, that's not to say you don't have the mind for it, because there's the great players don't always become great managers, and most of the great managers weren't great players.
That's right.
So it's,
I think it's crazy that football, I feel like it wasn't that big in America. Is that wrong for me to say? I feel like
getting bigger, a lot bigger now.
Yeah, because it's worldwide apart from America, I would say.
Yeah, it was girls. It was girls. Girls when I went there. Girls took off for girls first, and then as my time period there, after the first year or two, the boys started to catch up.
I suppose they have quite big in American football and everything like that.
Yeah,
so I suppose a lot of the focus will probably go on that.
Baseball. God, you ever been to a baseball game?
No, never.
Nah.
It's a long,
boring,
man.
I don't understand, man. I don't understand the rules.
We went to, so I had my best pal my best pal Liver Greg was there, and then my other mate Connor came over for his 21st, and we went to San Francisco Giants game, the baseball team, and we were hungover, don't get me wrong, but the game we left, and it was really boring, and we came back, and all the parents of the kids I coached like, how was the game at the weekend? And I was like, didn't enjoy it. Like, that's one of the highest scoring games in the history of the game. And I was like, if that was a high scoring game, then
that's boring.
I just it wasn't for me.
There you go.
It's like cricket.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think with baseball it is rounder, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think there's a bit more to it. But
I'm sure there's more to it, but yeah,
yeah.
I know what you mean.
Because that sounds fun to play,
It
but
does,
to watch,
yeah.
like,
You know,
it's like sports day.
one of the
Parents.
guys that works in the kitchen in the golf club, his cousin is like plays for one of the big teams. I can't remember what it is, and I think his right arm's insured for like 500,000 or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
$1 million.
What?
Like how what? He gets like a helicopter out to the games and all that. He's like crazy money
For
So,
cricket.
Yeah,
For
baseball.
For baseball.
Baseball.
Somebody here.
Yeah, no, yeah. So no, the guy named Mark in the kitchen.
Yeah,
his cousin in America.
Ah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say, whoa, he must be amazing.
On his
at
getting
baseball
flown
if he's
out,
that
yeah.
here,
He's getting no.
Get a helicopter all the way to America as well. Jeez, this guy's important.
Just pick me up in Longstone.
Yeah, that's class.
But yeah, so since like all the football stuff, like I see now you're going into kind of different areas, different things. What kind of people have you had on, and have you got most memorable one or most inspiring kind of one? Not to put you on the spot at all,
Yeah,
but
no.
any ones that you stick in your brain.
Yeah, of course. So obviously I had both of you guys on.
Yeah,
So that was cool.
The
So
most memorable and the best ones.
yeah, of course.
we were
Obviously.
last on.
Yeah, of course. Like I started it, and then I was like, I don't want to talk about football all the time. And like I said, my idea wasn't to do that weekly. So I'm like, how am I gonna? I can't drop one every 6 weeks. 8 weeks. It's how am I gonna gain traction that way, right?
Yeah.
So. And I really like my music. I love watching videos of people make beats, specifically hip hop music, but any music. Like a good song's a good song. I love watching people make songs. I love watching. I don't know if you guys know who Zane Lowe is. He used to do like BBC Radio 1 here, and now he's like works for Apple Music, and he just interviews artists when their albums come out, right?
Okay.
And I fucking binged that shit. So that was, and I remember one day just being like, that's what you should do. You like your music, you love watching and like asking about lyrics and album breakdowns, like do that.
Yeah, like, what does it mean to you kind of thing? What's this song about?
So that started the music thing, and it was, to be fair, it was Craig who I rent the studio off of, was like, you should do that, man. And obviously he was like, there's nothing really here for bands to do that. So that's what started doing other things other than music. And I was really grateful. I got a guy called Jemanuel on, who has a great song. It's called Lonesome Man. Really good. His voice is fucking class. And I messaged him thinking, and his song was starting to gain traction. I was like, just shoot my shot.
Yeah.
And he got back to me, and we did it within like the first 2 days.
Nice.
So that was like the first
Take it as Edinburgh or?
He is Edinburgh.
He's Edinburgh.
Yeah, he's Edinburgh, yeah. Sorry, that wasn't the first non-football one. I actually had old friend from school, Dan Wallace, who swam in the Olympics. He was the first guy I did that was a non-football one. And I thought, because my thought process at the time was, we know each other. My brother used to go out with his sister. My mate, one of my good pals now, is with her, and they have 2 kids together. So like, I know them, so I thought, well, maybe my connection with him could, because he was starting to do his own YouTube stuff too. And he was in, so that was my first non-football one. So that was nice to just break that barrier. And then Jemania was the singer, and then from there it did bands, and then it's progressed into you guys, and a Muay Thai fighter, Connor Carr.
It's nice, so it looks like it's moving away from the football a little bit, but still doing a little bit of football stuff in it. As well.
And I'm still trying to work out, like, I think for this year, this season of the football, it'll all stay under the Canon Conversations umbrella, but maybe for next year, maybe I'll start like a separate football one. And that is just out every 4 weeks, and everyone knows that. But I keep Canon Conversations as like, so I don't know. I'm thinking about it, but the football one will continue through. It'll be dropped in there. Whenever it feels right.
Because you can do it that way, where you put it as a title, saying, this is the football monthly football one. You just get chucked in. If you don't want to listen, move on. Or kind of thing.
Exactly. So so that's where I'm at with it. And I just wanted to keep doing stuff like speaking to you guys and connect with people, and then that opens up. The end of the day, like we spoke about it a lot on yours, like about, because I listened back to our one again today. Like it's all about like connections. If I hadn't reached out to you, then Callum doesn't come. Then we don't do it, and then you guys don't ask me to come on here. Like it. So
look at where we've come from. In just a matter of months or something.
Honestly,
So it's important to just continue to keep doing it, because and even I've said to you guys, like, I'd like to do editing. I like doing the editing part, and I'm trying to get better at that and learn that stuff, and maybe like be a freelance. And
there's just people out there that like to learn the new things, and it's quite challenging, like first of all, putting yourself out there for a podcast, recording a conversation like we're doing, which we're used to now.
Yeah. Experts, of course.
But the doing that's hard, and then learning how to edit, learning how to post it, this, that, the other. It's all quite hard stuff, and obviously we're just of kind of people who we want to attract and bring on that just want to have that same busy mindset that keeps us all healthier.
Yeah, I know, honestly. Yeah. Like you were saying there, you know, if you like don't do something for even for a few days. Yeah. I'm sitting there, I'm like, I should have been doing this, I should have done that. Have you not made a post on this? Have you not done that? Yeah. Like, honestly, and
I should feel worse about not working out for a few days, so I should definitely start doing it.
It's just my head, man. Like, it's just my head. Like, I'm more ratty. And, you know, I just am. Like, I just notice it.
I completely get it, because, like, when you do it, you feel so amazing. Yeah. When you go to the gym, you feel so good. But I don't know what it is. I managed like 3 months and I'm out. I think I'm out for 6 and then I'm back for another 3.
It's like it's amazing how hard it is to make it a routine, but how easy it is to break it. Yeah. Like if you miss, and that's my thing, and I know that from trying it so many times. I'm like I'm away this weekend with my girlfriend. We're just gonna go like not really up north, like Largs and stuff. So I know for a fact I've not got that this weekend, and that's fine. But I'll make sure I'm Monday to Friday this week for sure. Like I won't miss it, because I know I can do my 2 days. Yeah. Monday I'll be back. But it just
good for you, man, because it's tough. It's tough going to the gym. But we're saying this. I'm saying it quietly because there's a gym there, right there. Yeah, I don't want to seem like that guy. So but it definitely is. It sort of clears your head and keeps you going. I feel keeps you strong mentally.
And I know myself. Like I said, that time period where I kind of lost myself, I wasn't exercising. And, you know, for exercise, all I ever did was football. Yeah. And again, talk about having the wrong mentality. I don't know if you guys would even use this word, or if this is still a word now, but like we used to call people that would go to the gym and like wear Jack Wills and stuff like buff days. Buff days. Yeah, buff days. So like I was just have that mindset. Like, he's going to the gym like he's a buff day, but like buff day, like in reality, like he's you know keeping his care of himself.
Healthy. I get what you mean, like meathead kind of thing or something like that.
Yeah, I had the wrong approach on that for sure. Yeah.
I feel like it's that way when you're young and you're, you know, that was the thing when you're a lot younger and you're in, like, you know what I mean, primary school and high school, and you're like, oh, he's
trying to be cool, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then it's when you get older, you realize you're like, what?
Yeah, look at him learning history. What a loser. And all that.
And then now you're like, what? That's so cool.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 hours to learn stuff on history.
But that's, if you guys don't mind me going off on this a little bit, but it was one thing when I was driving up here that I did want to mention, because I think you guys are of the same ilk. Like, I think a big thing for like everybody is caring what other people think, and I think that's whether you're 18 or you're fucking 40 or whatever. And like, I didn't think I used to care about that as much as I actually did. Yeah. You know, I always used to think I didn't, and I still do now. Like, I still have moments now, but when you start, you know, you're trying to do something else. That you guys have got your clothing brand, trying to do this, and I've obviously taken a big jump. Added a lot of stress to my life in a different way of like leaving the bank, right? Which just wasn't for me. But like, when you just do what feels right to you, you do wake up every day and your days are better, and you're not trying to force yourself through something you don't like. And I know, look, like I'm fortunate that yes, I have a girlfriend at the moment. It's relatively newish, 6-7 months, but I don't have kids, right? Like I'm very fortunate where I stay. You know, I live with my best friend, so I'm not paying like a massive rent that I would pay if I just rented my own place. So like, I'm fortunate where I'm at, but that's also why I took the jump now when I did. Yeah. Because I'm like, this is the window. Yeah. Because in 2 years' time, I'm not gonna have that window.
Yeah, you could have a kid in that.
I'm not gonna have that window. So I'm like, now's the time to do it. And my dad has really always been great with that. Of like, if you feel like you got to do it, you got to go. Yeah. Like, you've got to go. And I remember when we moved back from America, he was like, you know, at the end of the day, if you want to go back, you've got the passport. But my lease was up in my car at the time. My flat lease was up. I didn't want to sign it for 3 years, and he was like, now's the window. And I felt like the same with the bank stuff. So,
has your dad got an American accent?
Oh yeah, full on. Yeah, full on. And like says all the Scottish words, but in an American accent. But yeah, so I just ran off that point. I just think that people, and it's really hard. And it's hard when you do this stuff and you put yourself on camera, right? Like, I'm sure you guys are finding to like think what people think, but like most of the time people don't even care.
That's what you kind of realize. See, right at the start, that was a big thing, and it was like I didn't even want to take like put a story up on like, you know, when I was about starting the brand and everything, I was like so nervous to do this, and like
you put like the caption in a certain way and you change it
try to,
back
like,
and then you do it.
face up and cover
Nobody
this up and all
didn't
this,
even
and
look at
like
your
it's like one of see that's one post that I spent so much time to make sure was all this. It's like by the time you've like by next week you've already made another 4 or 5 posts. It's way down the bottom of your feet. Like nobody's even thinking about it.
If somebody does end up saying, "Oh, look at him, what a gimp," that's better than what everybody else did anyway. So take it. Take it for sure.
I've got like the football ones are really good for TikTok. I've found, and you know, because it's quite opinion based. Like we were saying, the football fans, and like I got a few of those this week. You just laugh. I just like them or like respond back like positively. Yeah. Like, God, like this another podcast. This is why there shouldn't be any more football podcasts. Like, you know, that type of shit. And I'm just like, bro, like imagine that you've sat there, seen that video come up, and you've wanted to comment. Like, I actually feel a bit sorry. Like, are you all right? Like the fact that you've had to do that. Like, I just would never do that, right? Like
somebody. Just a comment. I remember I was on a video and somebody just commented saying, "Not my cup of tea," and then like 3 people liked it or something, and one of them responded saying, "Why comment?"
Yeah.
Why? It takes time to do that. You know, not my cup of tea. I mean, it's not like a negative thing, but it's not like the hell was that? Why? What the hell was that?
But you, and again, going back to like,
not bothered you though.
Like going back to not caring what people think. Like, I think you've got to put yourself in a not take it personally, right?
Yeah.
And be like, right, that's on that person. Yeah. Like something's obviously going on with them, and like, sorry, but like I can't take it personally.
I suppose it's funny, but
yeah.
It's funny things, isn't it? It's funny what sticks in your head there.
Yeah.
I just don't think I've ever commented on something. Maybe actually, it's probably like a video.
Never negatively.
Don't know. I don't think I would have. Why would I?
That's what I mean. I don't understand in my head why you do that. I mean, I do, but like I don't understand. Like I'm a believer that if you put good energy out, it comes back to you, right? I believe in all that karma shit.
That's what I would say if somebody asked me if I was like religious or something. I would say that I believe in karma.
So would I.
And I think that's about as far as my spirituality goes. You give out, you get what you...
I feel it definitely as a thing, you know what I mean? Like, well, how you are in life, it does come back to you.
I think it just matters. I don't know. I think it's just lucky because there's some people who are arseholes.
So
it doesn't matter.
True. Because like I've always, well not always, but like recently in the last kind of 5-6 years, like, you know, you start to think about this stuff. Like, I'm like, the world has been here. They're going fucking deep here.
Oh, here we go.
The world has been here, right? Like, the earth has been here for so long, right? Yeah. And we don't really know what's happened in the past, right? Like, we can say we do, like, sure, scientists can figure stuff out, and then in 100 years, it'll change or whatever, right? Yeah. But, like...
That's exactly how it goes.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, you know, like, you just don't know. So I believe that there's, like, I think energy is a thing. I think it has to be. Because... I don't think life's not designed just for us to wake up, go work for a company, get in your car, drive home, stay in your house, have your wife, and like there's more to it than that, and there's other ways you can pull things into your life, and I've always kind of been a bit of a believer in that stuff, just more so recently, because I'm like, it can't just be that, like I'm not just getting.
For example, like see if you take your socks and shoes off and stand on the grass, it feels unbelievable.
Yeah, it does.
And it does. As a human. We barely touch the naked earth.
Ever.
Like we've got socks and shoes on and then clothes. It's so weird. How nice does the sun feel on your skin?
Yeah.
We don't, I suppose it's because you don't want to walk about in dog shit. Or
I know what you mean.
Like, if everywhere was grass and moss and all that, it would be nice.
Yeah. We've just become like, we're definitely at a time in
this can't be life is what I think we're saying here.
Yeah, exactly. And we're at a time in like the human story where everything's very comfortable, right? Like if you just think about back to like, not that, I don't know the time period, but it's not that long ago, like the Romans and all that, like they're coming onto your fucking land, like killing everyone, killing all the men, raping the women and taking it over. That's not that long ago, right? Like we're at a very unique time in human history where like everything's very comfortable. Like now you fucking work from home on your laptop all day. You don't even need to go out fucking outside and see people.
Like it's like that here, and then you go on a plane for however, you know, even a couple hours, and you're in a place where it's like you know what I mean.
Where they just hunt their meat and eat their meat. And
everything's going down, and it's so, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
I think that's why traveling's really good. Like, not to say that everyone should do it, but like and I was fortunate in San Jose where it was like Apple and stuff like that. It's the heart of that. So a lot of different cultures. So yes, I was in California, but you know, I had Americans, I had Mexicans, I had Indians, I had Chinese, Japanese. Like there was so many different types of cultures that I'm really glad I've experienced that, and I've seen ways that different people live, and some things I've taken and some things I haven't. Right, but I think when I do notice that a lot, especially in Scotland. Like folk like just stuck in like 9 to 5, go to the pub or whatever it is, and that's cool. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
Massive
one way.
Massive culture shock for me was Egypt recently. That was like such a change from normal day-to-day life. It was just like, you know what I mean? We were out walking back at like 2 or 3 in the morning. We were out all night doing this, and there's like families and kids walking down the street, and there's like kids picking up bottles on the street, like into things at like 3, 4 in the morning, and you're like,
it's probably because it's so hot there though that they go out at night.
But like what
day,
you know what I mean? You don't think there was school the next day? You know what I mean? It's so many questions. I was like, this is such a culture shock that it's so different. But you know what I mean? It's
cool.
It's cool. It's like you learn so much from traveling and experiencing these things. And honestly, it's crazy. But
yeah, I'd like to.
Travel's definitely.
Yeah, I'd like to travel a bit more because I think this can't be it as well. But maybe it's just Britain. Maybe it's not the modern day. Maybe it's not this. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I think.
I guess the whole world's connected the same way, but
differently in the same way.
Yeah, I think it depends on. Yeah, it just depends, man. I think I've definitely got more into like getting off my phone a lot more. I don't want to sound like one of those people, but like I do. Like I messaged you, I think after we just did ours, I was like, look, I'm just taking a break from social media this weekend. But like I told a lot of friends that, and they all messaged me like, you all right? And I'm like,
that was my immediate response.
Do you know what I mean? But I was like,
when you go off of that, you're like, oh, something's happened.
There's a reason for that.
I know. I totally get it. Maybe I didn't phrase it very well, but I think I'd had a couple of drinks at that point too. But anyway, but like it was the reaction to people when I say I'm taking a break is like, are you all right? And I'm like, are you all right? Like you do know that like I'm just deleting it for Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Like I'm
like
just to stay off it, delete the app.
It's really nice. It's really nice.
That's crazy. I've never even.
My brother did it one time. We went back when we flew back one time after Christmas, and he was like, I'm gonna delete my social media for the whole month of January. And I was like, okay, I'll join you. Did it, and we did a whole month, and it was funny. We downloaded it, hadn't missed out on anything. But I'm really glad I did that once. Because it opened my eyes to like, oh, okay, I don't need to be on this fucking thing all the time.
I'm not gonna miss everything. I'm not.
And by the way, if I pulled up my screen time, I bet it's fucking high. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I noticed I just noticed when I need to take a break off the phone and just fucking put the phone away.
I feel like I must be maybe the only one person who thinks that I'm not on Instagram enough.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Maybe it's because I drive for a living. During the day, but even after, I don't fancy just sitting scrolling. I do it for like 10, 15 minutes.
It's that thing again that we've got in our head that's like you sit down and do that, and then you're like, I should be doing something else right now.
I think that's maybe what stops me. It's never felt right, and I've never really been a scroller. Which I
don't do it then.
I feel good about because I can't like see TikTok. It's so quick and so much. Like, sort of
as soon as you go on,
what are you really getting from that? Like, like it depends on your algorithm and stuff. Like, you can get good stuff, but like, what are you really getting from that? But
I don't feel like it's ever figured me out. My Instagram, it's not because it's mostly just I don't even know. It's mostly just Callum messaging me funny videos. I don't know where
that's it. Yeah,
they are hilarious. Don't get me wrong, but I'm always driving, so I don't even open.
I think too, like. Have you guys ever read the book 48 Laws of Power?
No.
That's a really cool book. If you'd like read it.
Reader, you know,
I'm not massive either, but
I've always wanted to be.
My girlfriend's a huge reader, and honestly, I'm not at all.
So I'm not a big reader either. I just randomly will find the book that like suits me, but I haven't in a while. But there's 40 Laws of Power was cool, and there's a chapter, and he basically studies the history of like CEOs, kings. All that type of shit, right? And just kind of comes up with 48 laws of power. But one of them is like absence. Like absence is really important because it makes you seem more important to people when you're constantly not there. So it was one of I forget what king is in the chapter, but he decided he wasn't going to go to every play. Because when he showed up, it was like, oh, the king's here. Whereas if he's there every week, the king's here.
It's like we were talking about earlier with the sunshine in Scotland.
Yeah.
Just to make it a special occasion.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, so I find that interesting, but like you're told now if you want to start something on social media that you need to be pumping out fucking 10 pieces of content a day. And like, I think I get that because there's a lot out there. So you're trying to get yourself in there. But I toy with the idea a little bit. And that's why I don't do like a weekly show. I've said that to you guys because I don't want to be on that every week posting that stuff. Like if I get 4 or 5 pods in a row that so happen to come out one after another,
so be it,
cool, right? But like the power and I like artists like Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole. They're not on social media. And when they fucking, I know they've got themselves to a point where they can do that now. When they were you know, they were doing it, but it's cool when they come out because you're like, wow, and that speaks to that power of the absence, right?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's like I didn't post a story for a while on Facebook, and then my sister said something like, it's really cool because you don't normally post stories, so when you do, we all watch them, kind of thing. And I was like,
it's funny you say that because it's like I'll post, if I posted daily on Instagram, you get like a probably steady kind of regular amount of likes, and then like sometimes you won't post for 4 or 5 days, and then I'll post something and you get more likes on that one. And I was
what's the answers here, boys? Did we not post or did we
do you know what I mean? But then you watch every
Yeah.
single YouTube video. You need to post it 12 a.m.
Do you know what I think it is that when I started this business, I really felt the business of my clothing brand. I really felt that everything was just going organically, and then people started talking to me about needing to know algorithms, needing to have the right hashtags, this, that, the other. And that puts me off, and I feel like I don't want to post unless I want to post. Yeah. Because it's very much like the thing where you're not, if you just be yourself, otherwise you're not going to be successful pretending.
So,
I agree. Sure. And I think of it like, I think of it like this, and I notice this a lot with football coaching, right? So I'll relate to that was, the game's not that difficult. Your job is to get the ball from one end to the other end and kick it into the team's goal. Yeah. There's a million different ways to do it, but it's not that difficult, right? Football, yes, like you can go into the tactics and stuff like that, and all those little things make a big difference. Football is about running when you don't have the ball to get the fucking ball back, and then working as a team together, both on and off the ball, to try and score the goal, right? And I think that sometimes, I find myself doing this too. Like last night I was working? Yeah, I think I was working at the last night, and I was watching a fucking 25-minute YouTube video of a guy doing a presentation on all the things he's learned on how he grew his Instagram. And I got 10 minutes in and I'm just like, I think people, don't get me wrong, I think there's something to it. And there's little tips you can take from it. But I think it's overcomplicated now, and a lot of people, quite frankly, talking a lot of shite.
Yes, as well as like if everyone knows the algorithms of it and whatnot, and they're showing you, then everyone's going to have the same. Therefore, it's not going to be
the algorithm,
right?
Yeah. So we need to make our own algorithm.
So I just maybe it is just an organic thing that if you're feeling it, you get lucky or you don't get lucky, kind of thing.
Yeah. I think also like at the end of the day too, your quality of what you're putting on there matters, right? Like it's like anything. Like it has to still be decent quality, whether it's a video.
What was I going to say? How are they going to find that content without finding the Instagram? How are they going to know it's good or not?
So I watched.
You got to find them first.
I watched a podcast with the CEO of Instagram on Friday night, and because I was like, oh, that's one I want to actually listen to because he fucking runs Instagram and he's really open. So right now, it's obviously all about the explore page on Instagram, and he says really what gets you that video, around people is really shares. If someone sends it to a pal, because that means it's really impacted them.
That's how I think it goes.
And like comments, like basically interaction. He said likes, like not really, to be honest. 1,000 likes isn't gonna. It's really about sharing, number one, and number two, comments, and like having people interact. That seems to get it through the algorithm.
Because when somebody shares, it feels great.
Yeah, well, I've found that with my TikTok specifically. With the football ones, because the football ones, like I said to you, are debate or opinion, and they're the ones that get a lot of comments, and they're the ones that are getting the most views. So I'm like, okay, that does correlate to what I've seen there. So that's what I try to do with this stuff. I'm sure you guys are the same, but like I try and like take that in from that YouTube video, and then try and keep that in mind and pay attention to my videos. I'm like, okay, that does correlate to that. Like that makes sense then. So yeah.
Talk about things that people want to talk about and want to actually discuss and might even want to share with their friends and things.
Maybe talk about that a bit more or something. Well,
there you go.
It's sort of like another question I was going to ask for you is how do you like prepare? Like for example, I was a clothing brand and you hadn't had a clothing brand on.
Yeah.
How would you sort of prepare? Do you just sort of look at the profile, see that, ask a couple of questions, and then I remember you said you watched a documentary on something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just is that how you sort of just prepare for a guest?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, like I say, I need to be into the topic.
Yeah.
Is the first thing. I have to. So that would be that, and then I would check. I would follow.
You almost like choose them as well. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong. Some people have suggestions. Some people have had on to me, and I'm like, cool. But like, I'll always pick it because again, I have to sit here and do the conversation. I have to want to ask you questions. I can't be sat there thinking, And don't get me wrong. Some podcasts you do are sure you guys have had it. You maybe do one, you're like, that wasn't very good. Then you do one, you're like, that was fucking amazing. Sometimes it works, but I have to at least want to talk about what I'm talking about, right? So then my first one would be interest. My second one would be then obviously find you on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Follow for a little bit, and see what happens. Like how not consistent you post them, but just what you post and what's the stuff like. You get an impression of someone a little bit through their social media, right?
Down to the bottom and see what's up and stuff.
And then man, from there, like particularly for like your guys' one, again, I'd watch YouTube streetwear stuff again because I'm into it. I'm sat in the flat anyway. I'm on my laptop doing other stuff. I've got that on in the background, and I'm just.
It sort of feels like you're working, which
correct,
is so exciting.
Correct. I'm like, this could be my job. This would be amazing. So, and then I'm just, if I hear a good question or I hear a good point made, I'll just make a note on my phone. I'll just have like Kush podcast on my phone and my notes, like you guys have done, right? For me, and I'll just put it there, and then there's always a theme for me. It's like, for me, I know where I'm going to try and take it. Like, how'd you start it? Where are you at now? Where are you going, right? And then from there you can just chuck in a bunch of stuff. Like we've gone off on a few tangents. It just happens,
which is nice because I feel like we did write notes.
I know we had to be 10
points
or something.
It's so hard to prepare for a conversation.
Yeah, because you don't know where
so we're just here chatting.
Exactly.
It just happens to be microphones in front of us.
And I think like there's always ones on my notes that I'm like, even if I'll make sure I ask that. At the very end, if we don't get to it, so I feel like it's important.
That's
exactly,
that's what it's there for.
Just keep you going if you get stuck. The conversation stops dead. Yeah. So that would be it. That would be basically it. And then, just
how many
go
have
from
you done? How many episodes are you on?
55. Calum was 55.
Nice.
Yeah, Calum was 55. Yeah.
That's cool.
So so I actually don't have any others lined up at the moment. So I need to get back on that. And
anyone in mind?
I've got a few. Like I've got people I'd messaged before. They just were busy at the time, and then come back to me at another time. So there's always that. There's a guy I need to message if he sees this, Jock Beg. He does. He produces like oh my god, boom bap beats, like hip hop boom bap beats from like the 90s, and he's from Leith. I don't know if he lives in Leith. He's from Leith. Him. There's a few singers out there. Probably a couple more fighters, boxers. There's a boxing club I want to do.
Nice.
That's good as well. They must want to.
That's. I'm trying to sing off the top of my head. That's about it. But as you guys know, or maybe as you don't know, but if I'm the first on here, but as you start to reach out, it's just how it goes. Some people you'll get it done, you'll organise it within 2 days, and some people won't happen.
But one question I had for you was, if you could do one with anyone in the world, dead, alive, anyone, putting you on the spot a bit, I don't know.
Yeah, no.
But I talk
about this a lot. I talk about this a lot. Oof, there's so many. I mean, there's so many, man. I will try and pick one though for you. I'll try and pick
even a couple.
Like, I'll pick.
You should put into your consideration one that you would actually be able to speak to. Like imagine, for example.
Okay, got you.
Imagine Joe Rogan was there. You'd be like, oh mate.
Okay. Dead or alive?
Yeah. What kind of genre even like?
I would be leaning. I've got 3 people that have come into my head. Okay, so I'll just go with those 3 and as to why. So one would be Jurgen Klopp, who just managed Liverpool for the last 9 years and like revived the club and brought us back there, because I think you could have a beer with him and stuff like that, and it would be a good life chat as well as football, right?
Nice.
That would be one. To keep it on the football thing, unfortunately, would be Steven Gerrard, because growing up, Steven Gerrard was the fucking shit at Liverpool. I mean, that would just be a bucket list childhood thing to tick off. And then my third would be who's dead would be Mac Miller. Nice. I was really, really into his music a lot. He was a year older than me, so it all related at the time. It's really funny. Again, I was thinking about this earlier, and it actually came on in the car on the way up here. But just to quickly, this is why I do music too. Yeah, because I'm quite like a deep person, but like music class, because I'll take him for example as to why I would want to do him. But like his mixtape "Kids" that like blew him up came out when he just finished school and he's a year older, so I was in my last year at school. So fully relatable stuff that he's talking about, right?
Yep.
Then it moved on to his next thing he did was his album, which is kind of the same. And then it went to his mixtape Macadelic, and he just moved to Cali. I just moved to Cali. He's talking about drugs, being on his own, living in Cali. I kind of felt the same. And then his movie, watching movies with the sound off, his album after that was like 21, like thinking about life a little bit more, like who am I, what am I going to grow into, felt like I was the same. Yeah. Then it went into Faces, which was like dark, drug induced, and I was, that time period I was talking about, drinking a lot, a little bit of drugs here and there. Everything seemed to relate. And then it went to an album, Good AM, which was like him coming out with that, and that was me, like at the time I was like trying to get fitter, all that stuff. And then man, and then just the last two, then Divine Feminine was about like love. I'd had my first relationship I'd had for like 3 years at that time. That was relatable. And then the one he did before he just passed was Swimming, which is basically like you know, life is, you have to keep swimming, you have to just keep going, like life's not easy. And I was just kind of coming into my phase of like thinking about moving home, podcast. Everything was just so relatable, so that would be why one I would
know him in depth like that. You must
I could talk about it for ages. Talk about it for ages. So that would be it. But just to chuck out a few, like Tupac would obviously be cool, Biggie. You know, like Steve Jobs would be cool. Talk about like Apple. I mean, I don't know how I would have a conversation with Steve Jobs. Probably, you know, Joe Rogan, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man, loads. I like to do. Do you know who I'd really like to do? Two people who I haven't seen do anything and are Scottish would be Paolo Nutini and Jerry Cinnamon.
Very good.
Yeah, I think you would be good,
Yeah, just because they're Scottish too, and they don't do a lot of that stuff.
I think I was born in the same hospital as him, you know that.
Oh, really? Wow. Claim to fame, mate. Claim to fame. So yeah, there would be two. Trying to think if there's any other Scottish people. Like, I think that's it. Alex Ferguson. Yeah, I mean, I could reel a lot of people off.
I would love to get a lot more Scottish people on.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously, Dale on Bulletproof Mindset has his podcast.
Oh, cool.
But there's not that many out there. I'm not that big into sports or fitness or anything, so just hopefully there's interesting people that come on this one and stuff. And
you'll find them. They're out there. They're out there, man.
I mean, Paolo Nutini, he's worldwide.
I'll just give him a shout.
He's worldwide.
There's I don't know if you guys know Callum Beattie. Yeah, he's from Leith. So
he's my upstairs neighbour, right?
So you said this.
His dad stays with his missus. I don't know. So he in lockdown he stayed at the top flat.
Yeah.
And every Saturday night we had 1 meter, 2 meter, whatever it was, I can't remember. Segments in the front of Longstone. It was so good, mate. Cool. Live music every day.
He's good.
Every Saturday. Yeah, he's great. He's really good.
I went to see him at Usher Hall with the girlfriend. He was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. So the guy that does the guitar in the band, Jason. So I did some filming stuff for his band Labana. So thinking about trying to use that connection to
definitely,
because he's independent, he's fully independent, so it's not like he has a label that well, why I don't know, I could hopefully try and swing it and be like, look, man, like,
is he in?
He's still in Edinburgh.
He's in Edinburgh.
Yeah, he's I'm kind of letting the summer tour stuff die down.
Yeah,
let him get a break, and then maybe in the winter just be like, yo man, would you want to hop on, like kind of sell it as the whole, from, you know, live in Leith, Scotland, kind of come at it like that, like you've grew up here, like he's big into the community, you know, and I think
he's been on a podcast or anything.
You know what? I typed him into YouTube.
We would have saw him on a podcast.
I feel like I would have seen it. I've not looked, to be honest.
The reason I ask is because somebody that we were really interested in speaking to was like, nah, man, it's not me. I just can't.
That's fair.
I don't want to speak on the camera. I completely get it. And I said, don't want to be pushy or anything, but he's a clothing brand from Edinburgh. So we were like, mate, it would be like ideal. It's kind of perfect. You're an inspiration to us, but no pressure. It was like, man, come by the shop, come and meet me. It'd be so good to chat, but cameras and recording's not my thing. Yeah. And I really kind of respect it. Like,
100%.
But the thing is
that I felt like that. To be fair,
I felt like that. That's what I was going to say.
Exactly like that.
We felt like that. Now look at us.
I know. It's one of them. You just kind of.
I think it's not for everybody. I think I would say to anyone that's like on the fence, I think it's a good chance for people to get to know you, and for your brand. But some people don't want to do that, and that's cool. But what I would say for you guys on that, which I've not got to yet, but I think if, you know, when you've asked, you're on the radar. You never know. They might feel differently in 6 months.
For sure.
A year, 2 years.
Hopefully. So
we've reached out anyway.
So hopefully, hopefully they can change their minds and we get people on there. But I mean, I think we could probably chat all night.
I know, honestly.
I think we've hit the hour mark as well. So.
Holy shit, was that an hour?
That really didn't feel like it as well.
That did not feel like an hour.
That's the longest we've just got to learn.
I know. This podcasting is really fun, man. This has been amazing.
Really good,
Really good fun. Don't know if you want to shout out your social medias or anything.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I've got my own page. Is just Josh Cannon 93, Instagram and TikTok. So that's got all the stuff I do plus personal life if people want to follow me on that. And then the Cannon Conversations on Instagram is just literally just the videos that go up and stuff like that. So
links all in there. And everything.
Yeah. Link. I've got Linktree, so it's all in the bio. You can check out all the pods. And all that type of stuff. But can I ask you a quick question before we finish?
Yeah,
because I feel like you've brought this up like 3 times and I'm intrigued. Are aliens real?
Are aliens real?
Yeah.
I am at the point where I think, I don't know, because you know what? I immediately wanted to answer there and say, I'm at the point where I think if you don't think aliens are real, you're dumb. Because look at us, we're real. But then, I don't know, mate. I really don't. I don't know because people have come out in America and said, like, I swear I've been in the army this long, I've seen this. They've got aliens, they're hiding it from us, but then it blows over. But I don't really know what's going on because that being said, Donald Trump got shot in the face.
I think there's too much out there for there not to be something.
Well, that as well.
There's got to be something somewhere. I don't know, like...
Mate, it just depends on my mood, okay? It depends on the mood because sometimes I see clouds and I'm like... If I was an alien, I'd hide in that cloud as well.
Yeah, so would I.
I would just be a cloud. I'd watch everyone. Nobody would ever know.
I got obsessed with getting high and watching Ancient Aliens.
It's so good.
It is the best thing ever to do. But yeah, I'm convinced humans didn't build the pyramids.
So am I. Yeah, no, I see you.
Well, fuck it. We haven't worked out yet. Like
we haven't worked it out, and I don't know if we ever will.
Yeah. But who knows anyway. That could be part 2. We could just talk about aliens.
We need to have a part 2 where we can just talk absolute nonsense.
I'd love that.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much again.
Have a great night.